Hi, my name is Megan Burke. Welcome to another Pathways to Professions video. Today I have Kyle and Kelly Phelps, who are two ceramic sculptors. Hi, Kyle and Kelly. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
I was Kyle and Kelly's tech last year, so it's nice to be able to talk with you guys again and pick your ears about all the pathways to professions. To start off, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and if you were always in the arts or if it just kind of came on late in your lives?
Well, I'm Professor Kelly Phelps from Xavier University. I'm a hand builder, ceramist, sculptor, artist. This is
Kyle Phelps from Professor University of Dayton and hand builder, sculptor, same duo.
we've always been interested in art. Even though that our backgrounds were working class, blue collar, art has always been on our radar. So being able to manipulate clay or look for found objects to introduce into artwork has always been with us. So yeah, from a very young age, we were just really enamored by making art. So.
Nice. And then what do you think, when was that jump of, I'm going to do this professionally?
Wow. I would say
When we were inspired when we met Bobby Scroggins.
our first exhibition, we were at an exhibition in Indianapolis, and we placed first, second, and third. And the first place winner was a professor at the University of Kentucky who took first place. And at that time, it was like, wow, it really blew our mind that, first of all, it was an honor to even take second and third up against this high caliber artist. And he was a Professor Bobby Scroggins, and really blew our mind and really did two things for us: inspired us artistically, but also really motivated us to get into teaching, art in the academic world. So.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, to be ranked with another professor, that must have been a nice boost. Like, yeah, okay.
I mean, it was something that we haven't really seen before. Someone that looked like us, that were doing the things that we love to do as a career.
Yeah.
And that was just really what kind of set it off for us.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great to see. And you want to have that role model to be able to reflect on and think that you could actually go ahead and achieve your accomplishments.
Yep.
And then did you go to school for art, or was it you worked and then eventually got into academia through teaching?
So it's a weird kind of situation because growing up in a little factory town, if your dad worked at the factory, you had to work at the factory.
Mm-hmm.
So Kyle and I we kind of made that great escape away from that tradition. So of course we went to high school. I mean, we were motivated to think about undergrad. We went to Ball State University and got our undergrad in ceramics and sculpture. And then we ended up back in the plant. So that really motivated us to think about, wow, we want to make this a career. What do we have to do? So we applied to grad school and got into grad school. So we still had that strong working class background, and that appreciation, but ultimately it's the art world that really kind of directed us to where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. And I could see the bridge of the art world with your past in factory working and everything that's obvious in your work.
And it was really, it was quite the experience because a lot of the factory workers were craftsmen. So they had a lot of art skills, even though they weren't technically deemed art skills. Everything from foundry work to mold making to metal fabrication. I mean, these are all skills that we learned while working in the factory, but also
it went hand in hand
across the aisle to the academic world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the crafts and arts world linking together. We find that here at Touchstone too, with crafts versus art and all of the techniques and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
How were you first introduced to Touchstone? And what did you first think about it?
Well, it's funny. Kyle and I were just talking about this. How did we find about Touchstone? I think we've known a little bit, but of course everything comes from NCECA. I mean, subconsciously
networking with people.
Just networking, but I think having that arts community, everybody's always suggesting hey, you need to go here, or you need to go look at this particular person's art. But I think it's that ceramic world. I can't really say one person sent me to Touchstone, or somebody gave me the ear, or the the okay to look and investigate this area or that area. I think it's the fact that ceramics is so freaking cool, and the people are so tight knit. It is a family. So I mean, family seeks out family. So that's how
Yeah.
I think we got involved with not just Touchstone, but all the arts communities that are interactive with clay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good, sum it up.
And what was your first opinion on Touchstone when you came, and then how did it change when you left? Because I know a little bit.
It was dark. It was a new dark. It was a different kind of dark, but
It's
it was
very remote.
it's very remote, and it's what I expected for an art center. There's some other art places that were remote and kind of weird, strange, but I think this time it was dark. But at the same time, it was wonderful because you have all the amenities. You would think being out in the rural area, you wouldn't have so many really cool studios with literally everything you can imagine is right there. And I like the fact that everything's self-contained and it's accessible. It's just that it's dark.
I think it was something that we had more focus because it is such a remote place, that it's kind of its own little hub. And I think once we got past being so secluded feeling, then it was good. It was good. It's such a good way to actually break away from the academic side of it and to just really be able to focus in on just one thing.
Yep, love the
Yeah, so-
accommodations. So
yeah.
all the studios, the instructor housing, all of that was
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Food is excellent.
Yeah.
The wood fire pizza, all of that was
It was awesome.
it was awesome.
It
So
was a good time.
I think the fact that it is secluded, that's its own little perk. But I think the fact that the studios were just
It was great.
it's great.
Good, that's good to hear. Do you think, what other benefits do you think these types of programs and craft schools have for other artists trying to get their voices and techniques down?
Well, I think the fact that once again, the seclusion, the way that it's isolated allows you to really focus. So any new person that's investigating or thinking about coming to Touchstone, that you are going to get that focus without interruption.
Mm-hmm.
There are some art centers that are located somewhat secluded, but then you're kind of distracted by other things that are going on. There's nothing out there besides nature and art, and I think that's enough.
It gives you enough time to just to hone into your own craft. So I think that's a definite perk.
Mm-hmm. That is nice. And the studios are open from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So it is a lot of time to dedicate.
And then you're around other artists and you're able to network and you're able to
kind of feed off their energy.
And then you become friends with these people forever. I mean, we still communicate with past members. So.
I think one thing that it's different from Kelly and I is that when we go and teach at these workshops, it's not about us. I am the instructor and you do what I tell you. We have learned so much from, our students, and it's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I kind of really enjoy about working at these workshops. It's that ability to, share your knowledge and then also take from your students. There's always something I'm bringing back home with me because I've discovered from, what my students are doing. So that's a good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The whole week-long class that you guys taught was amazing. And I learned ceramics techniques, and we also got to talk about cultural events, and we were on all sorts of topics that week.
See, that's what it's supposed to be about. I mean, we taught workshops and they were so academic and so dry, sterile, and it's like, wow. And then all the work looks institutionalized because it tends to look like the instructor's work, and that's not what I think those type of experiences should be. So it should be about you bring something to the table and being able to offer others something from the table.
Absolutely. So what legacy do you hope to leave that will influence and inspire future generations of artists?
That's a tough one.
I think for us is the fact that art should be accessible to everyone. And what I mean by that is that, you know, it doesn't have to be an art studio. It doesn't have to be art. Sometimes can be really class driven. Those who have the resources or have the, you know, the best amenities and things like that. I think Kyle and I are living proof that you can make art just about anywhere. As I told you before, we have like the world's smallest studio. So when we have people come in, that, you know, they have the expectations that we have this, you know, big gigantic warehouse facility, and, you know, it's like a 9x10 room. Like I can do like this and touch the walls. So I think art production, I think we're living proof that you can be whoever you want to be in a space that is not technically a traditional art space. I think the other aspect is that Kyle and I were not supposed to be, we're not supposed to be visual artists. We're supposed to be pipe fitters and welders
Or
and electricians and things like that. I think the fact that we maintained the course and we took the criticism and even, you know, funny things like, we thought you were a bouncer, or we thought you were a bodyguard or a pro wrestler or something. And, you know, two giant black men making tiny ceramic figures. It's the fact that you're making art, and if you believe in it, you'll be able to stick with it, and you'll be able to make a sustainable life. I mean, there are some hard roads you're going to have to go on, but at the end of the day, it's what you're happy with. And, you know, Kyle and I stayed the path.
So I think it's just sum it up as stay the path.
Yeah,
Literally. If you truly believe in it, then stay the path. I think good things will come from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really great. Any other words of wisdom that you have for somebody aspiring to be an artist or a craftsman, maker?
Well, I can tell you, coming from an industrial background, blue collar worker, I mean, art and craftsmen, they're everywhere. Whether you work in a factory or you're working in a clay studio, we're the makers of everything. And I tell my students that every day, from the toilet you sat on this morning to the clothes you have on your back. Those are all art related positions. They're all art jobs out there. There are all art careers. So when people are down about, wow, what am I going to do with this art degree, or what am I going to do? I'm an artist, but I'm scared to tell people what I do. Look around. I mean, if it weren't for us, we'd be walking around with no clothes on. We wouldn't have the things that we have. So there are opportunities to make this a sustainable life. That's what I tell my students nearly every day. We're the makers of everything. So.
Wow, that's great advice. Thank you. I'm going to keep that in my head too when I'm down on myself. Well, thank you, Kyle and Kelly, for talking with us and sharing insights on your life and how you've made it this far and helping out future artists. I really appreciate it, and Touchstone really appreciates it.
Oh, we appreciate Touchstone.
Yeah,
so
and believe me, this is that was an experience that I hope we get to come back and revisit someday.
Yeah.
Well, I know Touchstone hopes that you guys come back too. We really enjoyed having you.
It's family. It's family.
Thank you.
Thank you.